If I allow myself to master my thinking, what I think about changes what I feel, and what I feel allows me to take different, more bold actions.
Hey, welcome to the podcast where dreams meet determination and success is just around the corner. I'm your host, Suzanne Taylor King, and I'm here to help you unlock the full potential of your business and your life. Welcome to Unlock Your Way with STK. Let's unlock your path to success together. I am honored today to be joined by Cliff Ravenscraft. And he is a business coach and mentor who I stalked on LinkedIn, and I talked into coming onto this live stream, and he had never met me before. So welcome, Cliff, and thanks for the trust. I appreciate it.
Well, Suzanne, thank you. And you're right. I am thrilled that we have connected for the very first time here, having our very first conversation live in front of the world.
Yeah.
I was looking at your profile and just seeing what you've done over the years to cultivate an amazing community. You and I are very much alike in the work that we're doing in this world. And so I consider it to be an honor. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be in front of your audience.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And, you know, it's rare that I'm in so many different circles of people, and your name was mentioned 2 or 3 times that you were someone not only I would resonate with, that I would get along with, that we were doing similar work in the world and would have amazing stuff in common. And I just thought, okay, I've heard his name enough. I got to go figure out what's happening with this guy. And I love the fact that you've doubled down on your personal habits. You gave up sugar, made the dental hygienist in me very, very happy. So thank you for that part of your journey. And let's talk a little bit about your role as a business coach and mentor and what makes you feel productive in that role.
What makes me feel productive in that role? So specifically in the role of being a mentor and coach, what makes me feel productive is making sure that I am coaching myself first and foremost.
Mm.
Self-care makes me feel productive. So I have gotten to the place where I have built my business in such a way that I never work more than 3 hours a day, actually 4 hours a day technically. So 4 hours a day, 2 days or 5 days a week is all I'm currently working. And I'm more profitable now than I've ever been in my lifetime. But I do devote somewhere between 3 to 5 hours every day reading, studying, growing, taking notes, transcribing sometimes paragraphs, if not entire chapters of books into my journal, then doing journaling of self-reflection, taking all of those notes and then putting them in written, typed form in an app called Notion, which I call my second brain.
I'm obsessed.
Yep. And so I like to, and then I organize all that in such a way that it's like, okay, now I can teach this. I've learned this. I've assimilated this. I've been applying it to my life. I've been self-reflecting as I'm applying it. I'm seeing the results of these things. And now I have all of these resources and I want to share it. So I feel most productive when I am doing my practices of self-care, which I consider to be reading, studying, growing, taking notes, journaling, and meditation.
I am even more in love with you right now than I was before, because that deep work time is literally what has transformed my life, my business, my clients' businesses. So when I take that time to go deep on a topic, and you can tell by I love books and I love learning. I think that's my number one character strength is love of learning. Going deep on a topic, for me, the last year has been all about community and, you know, from corporate communities to brand communities to, you know, communities for specific roles and jobs and every book you could possibly imagine. And my dream afternoon would be to have all those books open on a table with my electronic notepad, mind map software, and Notion all open at the same time, and just devouring the knowledge from all of those resources. Like I love doing that. I wish I had more time to do that. So working that few hours, you have to be productive. And my next question, I don't typically ask this question, but because of the way you talked about your routine, do you feel like, and I think it's called Parkinson's law, that when you have less time to do a task, that you're actually more productive?
Yes, absolutely. And I learned this well before I got into the transformation of my, personal and professional development. There were times when, back in the day, when I was just the average person going about life, living by default, basically, thinking life is happening to me and I have to just deal with the circumstances. And so what I found is that it's like, wow, I'm really looking forward to this vacation. I can't wait till this vacation. And always having 3 to 5 days or maybe 3 to 5 weeks worth of to-do items that hasn't been done. And here it is. I've got until today at 2 p.m. and I've got to be out of here because we have to go get on an airplane.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what happens between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. I'm able to do in those hours what would normally take me 6 weeks to do. I literally can do in one day. And that's not hyperbole. That is fact. And so what I learned is like, wow, what if I were to, there's a book, a guy named Rory Vaden wrote a book called Procrastinate on Purpose. I've never read the book. I was on a cruise with him on Dan Miller's 48 Days to the Work You Love cruise. But Rory, and I have no idea what his book actually says, but I love the title. I now procrastinate on purpose. Anything that could be put off until tomorrow, I put it off. I feel productive by doing that because I know when there's a deadline and if I'm committed to the project, it will get done. And when I get there, I will be fully focused. I will not be distracted. It will get everything I have to offer to it, and it'll be great.
I am realizing more and more that is so true. I see it with my clients. I see it with myself. And coming from a career, I don't know what you did before you became a coach, but I was on a time schedule in my previous career for 25 years. Every hour, on the hour, new patient. And it kept me on a time schedule, but it also, because it was specific tasks in the hour, done in a certain order, when I left that field, I thought, I want freedom. I don't want tasks. I don't want schedule. I just went off the deep end with entrepreneurial freedom. And I realized pretty quickly that by being on a 4-hour-a-day schedule and the extra couple hours, of work time were actually learning time, my productivity went through the roof. So I absolutely love that.
I'd love to share one other thought that's coming to my mind that I think is important for me to share about this idea of productivity as well. And that is, there was this book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, I believe. And I only read the first chapter or two of it. I loved it. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to finish reading this. And I haven't picked it up in probably 2.5 years. But I love the title of this book as well. All right. So what I did is I interpreted it as the ruthless elimination of the unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I went to an event, a 3 or 4 day coaching workshop with Rich Litvin, author of the book The Prosperous Coach, co-author with Steve Chandler. Anyway, he said something that was profound. He said, most people are over obligated and under committed. And that struck me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that line in conjunction with the ruthless elimination of the unnecessary, one of the things that I decided to do is I looked at everything that I was committed to and or felt obligated to, and I eliminated everything from my life that I felt was unnecessary. And it reminds me of two books that I read that were very influential for me and helped boost my personal and professional growth and my productivity. One was called The One Thing, and I think it might have been Jay Papasan, I believe.
Yeah.
And the other one was from Greg McKeown called Essentialism. So just basically extracting everything from my life that's unnecessary. And what I realized at the time, about 95% of all the things that I currently have on my schedule or on my to-do lists, they're not important. They're not essential to who I am and what I came here to do on this planet.
Yeah.
And so I just eliminated it all. And that's why it's easy for me to actually only work 4 hours a day.
And it's almost easier to know your priorities too when you do that. I know, so many times we feel obligated to go to our clients' events or our friends' events, or I don't know, the list is endless of things that I could attend every week, every day, every month. But as soon as I got clear on what I wanted to do, and I think, the 12-week year concept of planning and scheduling and prioritizing helped a little bit. Digital minimalism helped a little bit. The book you spoke of, Essentialism, and the next book after that, Effortless, that kind of took it to the next level. But what made the difference was really getting clear on where I was going as a coach, as a business owner, as a CEO of a company. It literally transformed everything. Was that decision to make it about my goals and my achievements, and not everyone else.
Once you're clear about who you are, what's most important to you, what life is all about, the fact that we only get one time around on the planet, the fact that we're all given the same amount of time each day, being clear on what you're saying yes to is what's required for you to be able to have the capability of saying no to everything else.
Yeah. And I think no is the most difficult thing to say when you're a little bit of a people pleaser and you like I love when people like me. It's great. But that doesn't mean I can say yes to everything. And Christine, who's joining us on LinkedIn, she says she does the same. And Danica, she's an amazing YOS implementer, Y coach. She loves digital minimalism. We've had numerous conversations about that. And I think that's really the key, is to eliminate the distractions and really get clear on what makes you feel like your business is moving to that next level. You can't be involved in everybody else's business. I think, having those blinders on really helps. Now, let's talk a little bit about prosperity. I love the prosperous coach approach. That word really stuck with me numerous years ago, studying with a Stoic philosopher. We talked about prosperity not really referring to money. And that provoked a conversation about the words prosperity, abundance, and security. That those three words have nothing to do with money. And that conversation stuck with me so much because, when I was struggling in my business, I never allowed myself to feel prosperous, abundant, and secure. It was always scramble, struggle. Oh, I don't have any money. That whole feeling. And that conversation flipped something for me because of the actual definitions of those words. So I ask everyone what makes them feel prosperous in their life and their business. And I'll give you that same question.
Yeah. So what makes me feel prosperous in life, business, relationships, everything would be a commitment to live in what's called a high level of consciousness. There is a book by Dr. David R. Hawkins. It's called The Map of Consciousness Explained. It's a pretty heady book, very metaphysical as well. But he talks about, and he came up with this map of consciousness. And he gives calibrations for different emotional states. And it goes all the way from 20 all the way up to, I think, 1,000. And he says that the mass consciousness of humanity today, 90% of the planet lives and calibrates below 200, which is at the bottom of the scale is guilt and shame and fear and anger and desire and all these other things. Whereas once you get up to 200, you're starting to get into courage and hope and love and oneness and all of these other things. And if I get into a higher state of being or a higher state of consciousness, if I allow myself to master my thinking, what I think about changes what I feel, and what I feel allows me to take different, more bold actions. The other thing is when we get into lower states of consciousness, we get into fight or flight. We get into survival mode. We're in what's called victim/abuser mindset. And in that state, we don't have access to our prefrontal cortex, which allows us to have creative thought and problem-solving solutions available to us at our whim. So for me, I want to make sure that, I'm number one, aware, what are the emotional states and where do they calibrate? And how do I get out of this victim abuser mindset? And when I get out of there, then all of a sudden I can tap into my subconscious mind, my superconscious mind that gives me the ability to see that anything that I think about, I can create in this world. And as long as I am in that level of consciousness, that way of being, I know that there is no limit to what I can achieve and what solution I can come up with whatever circumstance or situation comes my way.
Yeah. Well, I love everything about that, and there's so much to talk about there. But I would say yes, and by doing that, my mentor that I've been working with for the past 2 years is an energy medicine doctor. Before that, she was a psychotherapist. Now she's a coach. And I will say that the reason I ended up with such a powerful mentor was because I was showing up in a higher vibrational state than everybody else in the room that day.
Yep.
And I couldn't put a word to that or a name to that. But what she said to me, and it was on Zoom, for God's sake. So you can be higher energy, higher vibration, higher place of consciousness, even connecting on Zoom. And she said, your light stood out to me. I can see energy, and that stood out to me. And I thought I would reach out to you. And I was like, is she talking about me? Like, what? And when we really dove into that energetic place of showing up like how you described, it's one of the most amazing feelings. It's almost like flow and I don't know, like a spiritual oneness that happens all at one time type of thing. And when it shows up, whether I'm in session with a client or a group of clients or at a speaking gig, it's like there's nothing else that could possibly enter your conscious thought except what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that is I can relate it to being an athlete and getting into that runner's high, or that state of consciousness that you get into when your physical activity ability is at the threshold. And I feel like it happens when my intelligence is at the threshold, or my emotional intelligence is at that threshold, and nothing else can be happening at those times. And it's a beautiful place to get to. And what do you think in your journey, what do you think has been the most helpful, transformational, allowing you to access that more frequently?
Meditation.
Excellent.
Hands down, there's nothing can compare to the power of meditation. And what I will say when it comes to meditation, just do some research. It does not matter what form of meditation you do. If you find anything and they say this is what meditation is, and there's about 100 different things that meditation is, and they're all accurate, they're all right, and they're all different aspects and different types of meditation. It doesn't matter what form.
Yeah.
But if you can just devote 2 minutes a day starting out to meditation, it'll begin to transform your life. I know that when I first started, I had what I had read about from so many other people. I heard how important this is. I don't get it. My thoughts all over the place. Some people are telling me that I need to sit in a certain posture. Some people are saying that I need to avoid thinking. Some people are saying, hey, some people are like, if thoughts come, just observe them. And, I allowed myself to go through this process. And my experience with meditation when I first began was I would devote 10, 15 minutes per time that I was going to do it. Failed miserably in my own mind is how I would define it back then. I now realize I was being incredibly successful by actually attempting it and just experiencing it, but still didn't feel like it was doing anything for me. I might try it like once a week, twice a week, or, I'd make a commitment to do it daily, but not having it, all this other stuff. And then eventually over time, just hearing more, studying more, being convinced to go into this deeper, I'm now at the place where I use an app called Insight Timer, which you can find at insighttimer.com. It's free. There is a paid version, but you don't have to pay for it. I do. But I'm almost at 1 year straight of a streak without missing a day of meditation. And
awesome.
Today, it would be rare for me to meditate for less than 30 minutes. And I can get into a meditative state for up to an hour and a half to 2 hours if I've got the time and flexibility in my day. And when I'm doing those lengths of time, by the way, to experience the increased level of consciousness, that should, when you get good at this, that only takes about 5 minutes max once you understand it. But the reason why I would get into the meditative state and stay there for so long is because I've learned 2 different paths of meditation for me that I most focus on. One is oneness, and that is being in all of my creator as a created being. And then the other one is experiencing oneness with my creator and actually tapping into my imagination and my gift of creation. And so it turns into a form of visualization. So I'm literally creating mental pictures, which I feel to be real in my mind, of what I want to create. And those things come into my experience in reality at some point, as long as I get rid of the resistance from the thoughts and beliefs that have been conditioned in me.
Well, it's truly to hear that setting the bar lower, to get your meditation journey started is what I always recommend. Saying I'm going to do it for a minute a day or 5 minutes a day, rather than thinking, oh my gosh, I have to set aside an hour or 2 hours a day. No, get your practice started with the lowest bar that will be achievable on a daily basis, because it's truly the habit of it that becomes the change maker when you experience it every day at a certain time. Your body is used to doing that, and it becomes almost like brushing your teeth. You know, I do affirmations every time I brush my teeth. Why? Because I habit stacked. I decided when I was going to do affirmations a long time ago, attach it to a habit I already do twice a day. Awesome, brushing my teeth. And still to this day, almost 20 years later, as soon as that hand touches the toothbrush, they start rolling through my head. Beautiful, right?
Yep.
Meditation is the same way. And I absolutely love how you pull that together, that by doing it daily, the practice will expand and the benefits. You can achieve benefits with meditation in just 5 minutes. So really love that. And now, last question for our viewers today. What do you have happening in your business right now, and where can everybody get in touch with you?
Well, the couple of things that are happening in my business. Number one, I lead a paid mastermind group for those who are on the full-time self-employed business owner journey.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We meet on a weekly basis, and it's people who understand that being a business owner means that you show up in the world in a different way. There's a lot of risks that you take that most people aren't comfortable with. There's a lot that rides on your shoulders. The decisions that you face on a daily basis, most people who are not a business owner can't understand. There's no way they could give you reasonable, experienced, insightful advice. And so this is a place where all business owners who have, in my case, online businesses, we get together and we share and encourage and inspire one another, and we put our minds together. Wherever two or more minds are gathered together, there he is in the midst, and there is this amazing access to information and insight we would never be able to get on our own individually. So I do paid mastermind group. That's over at nextlevelmastermind.info, not .com, but .info. The other thing that I do is one-on-one personal coaching for anyone on this planet who wants to raise their level of consciousness, who wants to live a more happy, more fulfilled life, somebody who just wants to experience a little bit more of, you know what, this feels good to be in my skin. Whether you have personal or professional pursuits or goals, it doesn't matter to me. Are you open to seeing the world different than what you're currently experiencing it? And so if you are,
I love that.
I do one-on-one coaching with practically anyone. So that's over at my website, cliffravenscraft.com. And then my wife and I started a conference called Free the Dream. We realized that most of the humanity has lost their ability to connect with what they want to create in this world, their ability to dream dreams. And I think we're all creators, made in the image of the creator. And we were put on this earth to create things. And there are dreams in our hearts that have been buried. And so we want to help people free their dream. And for 2 years, we did this as a conference called Free the Dream Conference. Then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is the first place I'm mentioning this publicly, but we're bringing back the Free the Dream event, but in a workshop form coming up in April. And there is not a website for it yet. That's going to happen this weekend.
Okay.
But we're doing a Free the Dream workshop weekend, April 13th, 14th, and 15th. And if you're interested in that, my email address is cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. But everything can be found at cliffravenscraft.com. And the final thing that I'll mention, just in case somebody just like, okay, I really liked Cliff on this content here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to sign up for a paid mastermind. I'm not ready to hire him as a coach. I'm not even ready to go to a live event with Cliff. But I'd like to learn a little bit more about him. The one thing I would encourage you to do is go to mindsetanswerman.com/free. And this will give you free access to my opening keynote address called All Beliefs Have Consequences. You'll learn how I used to throw money in the trash because of my money mindset, and it was keeping me from being successful as a business owner. And it also almost killed me, and I almost died in the hospital as a result of it. If you want to learn how I went from just barely making $11,000 net income for my first year to generating nearly $750,000 a year in my business, working almost no time at all, losing over 100 pounds of body fat, and giving up sugar for the rest of my life, I will tell you, all beliefs have consequences, and you can conquer your limiting beliefs as well over at mindsetanswerman.com/free.
Amazing. I could talk to you so much more. It sounds like we have so much in common when it comes to this journey. And thank you for joining me on the Productive and Prosperous Entrepreneur Coffee Chat this morning. And I am going to twist your arm. Thanks again for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Unlock Your Way. I hope you found today's discussion inspiring and you're ready to take your business and personal growth to that next level. If you're feeling as fired up as I am and eager to unlock that full potential, I'm here to help you on your journey and provide that personalized guidance tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Simply book a one-on-one coaching call with me and we'll dive deep into your business aspirations and see how we could co-create a roadmap for your success. And whether you're striving to scale an enterprise or just getting started, I'm here to support you every step of the way. To schedule your coaching call, simply visit the website at unlockyourwaywithstk.com, click on the Book a Call button, and we'll turn your dreams into that reality. Subscribe and review on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Plus, you can join over 800 entrepreneurs in the Idea Lab Facebook group. Let's make success as an entrepreneur happen together. Until next time, I'm STK. Keep dreaming big, stay focused, and most of all, have fun while you're doing it.